Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today I wanted to share The Golden Key by Emmet Fox. Now this is so incredibly beautiful. I mean, you can't even imagine how powerful this little piece of text is that was shared to us by Emmet Fox. Now I wanted to share it with you through this channel so that you can consider it for yourself, because it will totally help you overcome any obstacles you face. In fact, he's talking about making a connection with God. Now what is God? Well, one of the elements of God is unconditional love, or he wrote it as unconceivable love. This is a power that will really set you free from all obstacles and fears and worries that you might face right now as you're working towards a certain dream you might have. We want to get rid of all of that and start working together with the power, the creative principle of the universe. That is exactly what we're going to learn today. It's not a lot of text, so it's going to be a short video. Regardless, pay close attention. Now this is what he had to say. I have compressed this essay into a few pages. Had it been possible, I would have reduced it to as many lines. It is not intended to be an instructional treatise, but a practical recipe for getting out of trouble. Study and research are well in their own time and place, but no amount of either will get you out of a concrete difficulty. Nothing but practical work in your own consciousness will do that. The mistake made by many people when things go wrong is to skim through book after book without getting anywhere. Read The Golden Key several times. Do exactly what it says, and if you are persistent enough, you will overcome any difficulty. Now, scientific prayer will enable you to get yourself or anyone else out of any difficulty. It is the golden key to harmony and happiness. To those who have no acquaintance with the mightiest power in existence, this may appear to be a rash claim, but it needs only a fair trial to prove that, without a shadow of a doubt, it is just one. You need to take no one's word for it, and you should not. Simply try it for yourself. God is omnipotent, and we are God's image and likeness and have dominion over all things. This is the inspired teaching, and it is intended to be taken literally at its face value. The ability to draw on this power is not the special prerogative of the mystic or the saint, as is so often supposed, or even the highly trained practitioner. Everyone has this ability. Whoever you are, wherever you may be, the golden key to harmony is in your hand now. This is because in scientific prayer it is God who works, and not you, and so your particular limitations or weaknesses are of no account in this process. You are the only channel through which the divine action takes place, and your treatment will be just the getting of yourself out of the way. Beginners often get startling results the first time, for all that is essential is to have an open mind and sufficient faith to try the experiment. Apart from that, you may hold any views on religion or none. As for the actual method of working, like all fundamental things, it is simplicity itself. All you have to do is this. Stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is, and think about God instead. This is the complete rule, and if only you would do this, the trouble, whatever it is, will disappear. It makes no difference what kind of trouble it is. It may be a big thing or a little thing. It may concern health, finance, a lawsuit, a quarrel, an accident, or anything else conceivable. But whatever it is, stop thinking about it and think of God instead. That is all you have to do. It could not be simpler, could it? God could scarcely have made it simpler, and yet it never fails to work when given a fair trial. Do not try to form a picture of God, which is impossible. Work by rehearsing anything or everything that you know about God. God is wisdom, truth, inconceivable love. God is present everywhere, has infinite power, knows everything, and so on. It matters not how well you may think you understand these things, go over them repeatedly. But you must stop thinking of the trouble, whatever it is. The rule is to think about God. If you are thinking about your difficulty, you are not thinking about God. To be continually glancing over your shoulder in order to see how matters are progressing is fatal, because it is thinking of the trouble, and you must think of God and nothing else. Your object is to drive the thought of the difficulty out of your consciousness, for a few moments at least, substituting it for the thought of God. This is the crux of the whole thing. If you can become so absorbed in this consideration of the spiritual world that you forget for a while about the difficulty, you will find that you are safely and comfortably out of your difficulty, that your demonstration is made. In order to golden key a troublesome person or difficult situation, think to yourself, now I'm going to golden key John or Mary, or that threatened danger. Then proceed to drive all thoughts of John or Mary or the danger out of your mind, replacing it with the thought of God. By working in this way about a person, you are not seeking to influence his conduct in any way, except that you prevent him from injuring or annoying you, and you do him nothing but good. Thereafter, he is certain to be in some degree a better, wiser and more spiritual person, just because you have golden keyed him. A pending lawsuit or other difficulty would probably fade out harmlessly without coming to a crisis, justice being done to all parties concerned. If you find that you can do this very quickly, you may repeat the operation several times a day with intervals between. Be sure, however, each time you have done it, that you drop all thought of the matter until the next time. This is important. We have said that the golden key is simple, and so it is. But of course, it is not always easy to turn. If you are very frightened or worried, at first it may be difficult to get your thoughts away from material things. But by constantly repeating a statement of absolute truth, such as, "There's no power but God, I am the child of God," filled and surrounded by the perfect peace of God. God is love. God is guiding me now, or perhaps best and simplest of all, God is with me. However mechanical or tried it may seem, you will soon find that the treatment has begun to take, and that your mind is clearing. Do not struggle violently. Be quiet. Be insistent. Each time you find your attention wandering, switch it back to God. Do not try to think in advance what the solution to your difficulty will be. This is called outlining, and will only delay the demonstration. Leave the question of ways and means to God. You want to get out of your difficulty, that is sufficient. You do your half, and God will never fail to do God's. As it said in scriptures, whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Now this is so beautiful. The first time I read it, it really struck a chord with me, because I can tell from personal experience it is possible to connect with this power called God. One of the elements being unconditional love, infinite love, inconceivable love. And once you feel that warmth embrace you from within, you can literally feel all your worries and fears and sorrows, everything melt away. It just vanishes from your whole consciousness for the time being, as long as you stay in connection with this source of all of creation, of all life. And that's essentially what he's suggesting we do. That is exactly what Emmet said we should do. I suggest you start experimenting with this for yourself. I will from now on for the rest of my life, because I can sense the power in this concept from personal experiences in the past that I've already had. I know this is true. I know this can work absolute wonders for all of us. When we are trying to achieve a certain goal, get a certain result in our lives, it's always so easy to get into a state of hurry and a state of sort of impatience. But we want to get rid of those contradicting feelings. We have to be very careful not to entertain such states of mind. Instead, we want to embrace God from within, with our heart and soul, because that is where He is. That is where the power of life resides. It's within us. And as we embrace and connect with it, it will start to guide us. So it makes perfect sense to take your mind off the subject of the difficulties that you are observing in your physical life, and start contemplating within consciousness the oneness, the unity that we have with what they call in religion God, with the spirit of life, with the creative principle operating throughout the entire universe. Now let this sink in. It's a very, very powerful little piece of text that I really felt excited to share with you today, and I hope you take it to heart. And maybe one day you'll be able to tell me all sorts of wonderful things that occurred for you after you started embracing God in your own way and time. Now, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.